in between here. Okay, so we have root going to 4. Everywhere you look, there's root going to 4, not fifths. So it's not the same tuning as a violin, but it's the same string shapes that you'd use, because in a violin you go root 2, 3, 4, and then the next string up would be that 5 for you. You wouldn't have that repeat there. That 5 would be right over the root. So we'll move on. We've got our string shapes there, and then once we map these string shapes to the fretboards, okay, up here, of course, there's everything, you know, there's the good old long is a walkover 1, 2, 3, okay, we've got root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for the fourth, and 5, 6, 7, so we have, what we have here is 1, 4, 5 in double string shapes, double modals, not double shorts, double modals, okay, and then the way we say double, we're going to overlap them in the simplest form. Okay, so we're not going to have an arbitrary overlap where we overlap heavily on one string shape, and then the other ones we're going to only overlap one, and one we're going to have the two of them without any overlap. We're going to have the same overlap. We're just going to start with the very next, the normal overlap that we've got with the caged and with the modals. So I have, this is essentially 1, 4, 5 here, and we have all kinds of relationships, and this is the way that string shape, that stack of string shapes lines up like this, for the most part. I didn't get a chance to fix all these older ones. There's D, L, C, but that's really just D, C in double long string shapes, and this is how it works. You got E, R, E, okay, which is 7 root 2, and then RE is root 2, 3. So it's the soonest overlap you can get there. So this is how we're keeping it in the right size so we can get those mighty chords for the clef segments. Alright, so RE has G string cut out. It's a G string cut out. Here's your G string cut out. 2, 3, 4, and then cut out to 5, 6. So we've got nice things up there, ways to do that. There's our houseboat kind of thing, rock houseboat. Okay, that's just the hull. So we've got 1, 4, 5 here, which means we have 7 root 2, 3. Of course, I have super lower root labeled there, because now we're dealing with staff. When we move that up, what comes up, since we have a repeat of string 1 and 6 here, what comes up if we move string 1 up, pattern 1, then we underneath it we have 5, 6, 7, and we see that's an A5A, because we have a short A and a long A. The short A in caged is 5, 6, the long A in caged modal is 5, 6, 7. Okay? So when we push that pattern down, what comes in on top of it is 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6, which is C is 3, 4, 5, and A is just the 5, 6 there. So that's how that works. So we've got 1, 4, 5 for everything like that. Then I went ahead and mapped these out. What are the colors? Well, I can tell you right now. I don't want to get them wrong. This is the lower bass clef. This G7, this Mixolydian here is right here. This is where it actually is. If we just separate the fretboard into two fretboards, we have one for treble and one for bass. So this is the lower bass clef. The Aeolian, A minor 7th, the Aeolian for the bass clef is right here, and you see it repeats. So these are the string shapes involved in that Aeolian. We have G on the bottom, and then D, C. Okay, G, D, C. These are where the clefs, this is the lower bass clef, this is the bass clef, this is the upper bass clef. If we've segmented it into those mighty 7th chords or those modals, if we add the string above it, and we certainly have done that, because let's look at this. Let's look at the treble clef. Let's look at this scale here. this square right here, we've got an F major 7th there, and we've also added the note on the fence, the top F, for a Lydian, and that's how these string shapes are fit, the 4C to the ERE. Here's 7 root 2 and root 2 3 again, and that would be in the gray color. So this would be your treble clef up here on this particular fretboard drawing, and then the upper treble clef. That's all that chart is saying. We have chart 526, modal pentatonics, half shaped 7th, half diminished, chord shaped subs. Okay, I finally decided how I'm going to approach playing half diminished chords when I'm playing caged. When I'm playing in caged, when I'm doing like okay, did you hear the half diminished chord in there? So what we're going to do is we're going to jump right down here to the half diminished shapes. This is what we've all been waiting for. So it's the half diminished 7th mighty shapes. We have a rule. We've got to cover these rules first. Okay, so for pence, we're just going to be working with the simple root based pence. Root 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6, root 2, 5, 6, 7, 2, 3. Okay, the scale pattern here, again, to the right in these big cages is the 4th, to the left is the 5th, and these are substitutions, and of course the up and the down works about it too, and the right and the left. Just trust me on that. It's not the subject of this, and it would take 20 minutes to go through this, but trust me, this works. These pattern substitutions, especially in the pentatonic, in the pent. So of course, when we're going around here, here's the Lydian, which is the C4. K is the 4th of C4 goes to ER. There's your ER. The 5th of C4 is the other way, counterclockwise. We go to E7 right there. E7. Okay, E7 right there. That's how that works, just with that fretboard. The rules we're going to follow is half shape substitution for half diminished 7th. We're going to go D minor 7 goes to D minor 6, D minor add 7. 2, 4, 6 root goes to 2, 4, 6, 7. It's just root goes to 7. Root goes to 7. Now, this shows you the action finger movement changing the C7 shape as the 5th, okay, to the half diminished. But we could also do the 2 minor. Well, we're going to focus on the 2 minor. That's what we're going to do in the next chart. So let's go to the next chart even. Here it is. So I didn't even know that we weren't on today's chart. Half shaped 7ths, half diminished chord shaped subs. Easy. Very easy. Let's look at this diagram here. R, you have to know where R is. Once you know where R is, you can drop it to the 7 when you're doing the second minor shape, the minor 7th shape. So you do the minor 7th shape and you drop R to the 7. Okay, so with the E shape, it's a G minor half shape there. So here's the G minor 7th right here. You just drop the root to the 7th right there. With the A shape, I can just stay on this same open string now, but do it in different keys, just using the A shape. In the A shape, we go to the C minor shape, C minor 7th half shape. Let's just do the minor shapes. In the D shape, D is the root. We're going to go to E minor as the second. Okay, now I can talk about that easier than the C shape. We're going to just hit a D minor 7th. You know, everybody likes to do this. That's a D minor 7th with a strong E minor shape on the bottom, so we haven't dropped that root down because we haven't lost our root. We're hitting the 7th up here. Alright? Now, that's the D shape. In the G shape, I happen to have a G shape, E flat, sorry about that. So obviously it's going to be A minor shaped F minor. Alright, but we're going to make it a 7th chord, but maintain that A minor, make it a 7th chord. That's how you get the A minor 7th, but then we're going to drop that A minor 7th, that root to a 7, and there it is in the G. And in the C it's a little more difficult. This is showing how R moves up the strings. Okay, so starting from down here on the 2nd string is R. R is on the 3rd string with the E shape, R is on the 4th string with the A shape, R is on the 5th string with the D shape, and it doesn't particularly work here. It goes up higher than the 6th string and then back down again, so we don't show it, but it works for most of them. So let's look at it. This is the 7 half diminished cage easy subs. Okay, our basic strategy here, the rule of thumb is going to be 2, 4, 6 root goes to 2, 4, 6, 7. The 2 minor 7th goes to the 7 half diminished 7th, where the 7th of the half diminished is this 6 here in the root scale. Okay, so it's the 6th in the root scale. So let's look at these. We have the E shape here. Now in E, what do we got? 1, 4, 5. So we got E, A, and then the C shape is the 5th of E. So E, don't worry about what key I'm playing in. This happens to be key C. A shape on the open. And then the C shape, we have to do a half shape for the 5th. Alright, if we take that C shape up 1, we can go from C to A and caged. Okay, but we're dealing with we want to use that half shape 7th chord right here. Alright? Well, we're not going to be adjusting the 5, 7. We're going to be adjusting the 2 minor 7th. Okay, so in E, the 2 minor 7th's the G. Alright, so we've got, as we did before,